Okay, now we have made it on to harmonic mixing. Now, if you feel like you've been learning so much because you have and things are starting to come together, they'll really feel like they've come together after you have watched this video. So quickly, I'm going to break back out the whiteboard and we're going to talk today about harmonic mixing. Now, what is harmonic mixing? Back in the day, DJs weren't so concerned with harmonically mixing or mixing tracks that were really compatible with each other on a notation site. It was more that as long as you matched the tempos or you got creative, then things were good to go. Sometimes people would find that, you know what, these two tracks sound really good together, I don't understand why. But a lot of DJs happen to be musicians also, and knew that mixing tracks together that were of the same key signature or a similar key signature would sound so much better than just playing two random tracks. Now, I'm going to show you a really simple graph here that I have posted up. It's called the circle of fifths, and musicians use it. When we write music or compose, write out on sheet music, prepare a score for people to read, you write something in a key signature. Every song is written in at least one key signature. Some are in more than one key signature. And then you'll actually choose, let's pull up a keyboard here, and you look at the keyboard, there's a whole bunch of white notes and there's black notes. And what's really good about a piano is you're capable of so many different octaves, really low notes up to high notes, and play everything in between. It's a very dynamic instrument. So as we're looking here, let's start on, let's do a C major chord. Without getting into what a C major chord, it's essentially all the white notes on the keyboard, starting on a C note. Now, if you wanted to go to a minor chord, which minor is considered a sad chord, major chords like C major or generally happier sounding keys. And if you go to A minor, it's the equivalent of the major, just in a minor scale. So you're going to play again all the white notes, but this time the very root note or the first note that would be played is an A on this scale. Now, I know I'm going above your head. I just want to explain really fast that the circle of fifths is what musicians learn early on, and this is how we know what's harmonically compatible, one song to another. If you want to start playing an instrument, can you play it in another key, and so on and so forth. Because this is over the heads of a lot of DJs, and because it's more complicated than it needs to be, you don't need to go to this scale and learn E minor or F sharp, this F pound sign looking thing, F sharp minor or F sharp major. You don't have to worry about all that as a DJ, because they have taken the same scale, which generally, when it's the circle of fifths, starts here. The A and the C start on the very top of the graph, and they work their way around. For musicians, that's the circle of fifths. Now, it's going to keep the same order, although it's spun. This whole wheel has spun. Now, A and C are over here on the left side. And think of this as a clock face. You have 12 o'clock at the top, you have 6 o'clock at the bottom, and then you fill in everything along those lines. So let's go 1 o'clock, 2, 3, and 11. And essentially you have two clock faces, but they're the same thing. We'll go down here and fill this guy out as well. 11 and 12. Perfect. And rather than this inner ring is all minor keys, and this outer ring is all major keys. Now you'll see on the wheel, let's think of this as a pizza even, and this is a pizza slice. On the crust end of the pizza, you have the major chord. So in this instance, E major. On the inside of the slice, where the pepperoni and cheese is, you have a D flat, and that's little b is actually a flat, so D flat minor. Well, you don't have to know that. That's what the musicians keep track of. You'll just think of it as 12. So 12 songs that land in 12 are compatible with other songs that land in 12. Besides all major keys, we think of as Bs. Now, this is called the Camelot Wheel. It's essentially the same thing as the circle of fifths, but for DJs, we call it the Camelot Wheel. And on this outer ring, we're going to put B after everything. And on the inside of the ring goes A. Okay, so now we have this all filled out. And we're not so much paying attention to the green anymore. We know that there are majors and minors, major on the outer ring, minor on the inner. Now we're just paying attention to the A's and B's. So the clock faces are exactly the same, 12s land in the same spot, the 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, so on. Besides you have A's, which are the minor chords on the inside. Now a lot of songs you'll notice are actually written in A, or minor chords. They're considered sadder chords. They just have a little bit more harmonically rich tones to them, a lot of the notes do. And you'll notice in music, I read a recent study, and it makes plenty of sense because I see this over and over again, that most music in dance is written in the key of A minor. And as I told you before, A minor and C major both utilize all the white notes on the keyboard. I don't know if that's because the producers or the people writing the music want to keep it as simplistic as possible, and so they all play the white notes, avoid the black notes, because they don't play the instruments as well, or perhaps it's because there's so many other songs written in that key signature that it just works really well. They know that their song's going to be harmonically compatible with a lot of the other big tracks that are out there. I think that might be a bigger reason. Who knows what the reason is, but there's a lot of music written in A minor. You'll definitely find it all over the wheel, but I'd say this half of the wheel is definitely more populated with music out in the industry today than this half of the wheel. At least in dance music. So as you're looking here, what does this all mean? Well, if you use a program like Serato or Tractor or even Mixed In Key, it will actually analyze your music for you. And let's say you load in a new song, it's called I Love You, and I Love You gets processed. It says it's 128 BPM and it is in 7A. Well, what that means is essentially it's a D minor, it's 7A, and this is where on the graph that song lies. Now, if you wanted to play another song after I Love You, then you would want to play either another 7A, that's the exact same number and letter, or you would play one that is only one block away from it. So for this instance, you'd play 7A, or you could go over here to 6A, or you could go to 8A, and those are the only minor keys that you would play with it. If you wanted to play a major key, you would go directly to the equivalent of the 7A, which is 7B. So you can go to either one of these three tracks. They're all harmonically compatible with the 7A. So that gives you a bit of variation when you're going through your library. Let's say you have an idea of a song. I think this would work really well. And you take a look, and it's an 8A. Perfect. It would sound really well, really good with the song you're already playing. But in the case that you decide, hey, I just got a request to play Baby Got Back, and Baby Got Back happens to be in A flat minor, so it's a 1A. It's on the other side of the pizza, and it's not going to sound very good together, like really bad actually. The further away from the current track you're on, the further away on the pizza you get, the worse it's going to sound. So polar opposite is going to sound really bad. And I'll give you examples of this in the next video. So now we understand major and minor chords, and once you understand that these are all tied with the nearest block to them, they can be played together, you'll realize that the music sounds a lot better. So what you want to do is grab your music that you perhaps already own or that you're going to purchase and prepare for DJing, and throw it into your DJ software. Make sure to analyze it and get these numbers and the BPMs and the harmonic numbers, and that'll make your DJing a lot easier. Just a side note, Mixed In Key is a software that does this exclusively. It's not a DJing software in the right of performance. You can't perform on it at all. You can literally just import your music to it. It'll tell you the BPMs. It'll help you rewrite the metadata or may put it in a more usable format. And it will also write the key signature or the Camelot Wheel number to the track. So then when you put that track inside your DJ software on a USB, you'll be able to read that, that signature, and that'll help you decide what track works well with what track.